Tonight, the city's former CAO testifies.
It was probably not right to meet with him.
What Phil Sheegl had to say at the Winnipeg Police Headquarters inquiry today. Also tonight, a disturbing bullying incident.
His dad sent me pictures of how he looked, and I was just devastated.
What a mom says happened to her 11-year-old son at school, and the push to launch an investigation. Plus, expanded screening.
We know that if we can identify, we can treat, and if we can treat, we have better outcomes.
The congenital virus that can cause hearing loss, now included in the province's newborn screening program.
CTV News. Live from downtown Winnipeg with Marilee Caruso.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. One of the key figures at the Winnipeg Police Headquarters inquiry took the stand today. Former city CAO Phil Sheegl testified he never discussed making a profit from the project with the owner of Caspian Construction. However, a civil court judge concluded Sheegl did accept a bribe from Caspian, the general contractor. Sheegl has always maintained the money was from a land deal in Arizona. With more on what unfolded today, CTV's Jeff Keel joins us now live. So, Jeff, what were the other highlights from Sheegl's testimony?
Sheegl admitted he shouldn't have met with Caspian's owner before a contract for the project was awarded, as it could be seen as bias.
At the Police HQ inquiry, former City of Winnipeg CAO Phil Sheegl testified he wanted to make sure Caspian Construction, who eventually won the construction contract, was not left out of the bidding process.
I thought he was a good choice.
The project to buy and renovate the former Canada Post building ballooned from $135 million to $214 million. Sheegl testified he was comfortable lowering a performance bond for the construction contract from $40 to $25 million. The bond is collateral for the city. Sheegl says he wanted to make sure more companies were able to bid on the project, including Caspian owner Armik Babakanians, who he considered a bona fide bidder.
Then I didn't want him to get shut out.
You didn't want him to get shut out.
Mm-hmm.
The inquiry heard about a meeting between Babakanians and Sheegl before the contract was awarded. While Sheegl couldn't remember the meeting, he was asked if meeting one of the bidders and not others may be seen as bias.
It was probably not right to meet with him. It was not right to meet with him, but I was not aware. I shouldn't say I wasn't aware. I didn't even think that there would be a problem with meeting with him or other people.
A civil court judge concluded Sheegl took a $327,000 bribe from Caspian. Sheegl has always insisted it was for a land deal in Arizona with former Mayor Sam Cates and Babakanians. Sheegl was also asked if he and Babakanians ever discussed the Caspian owner making significant profits from the project and then sharing them with Sheegl and Cates.
Absolutely, unequivocally, no.
The inquiry also heard about a number of emails between Sheegl and Babakanians after the contract was awarded. Sheegl told the inquiry he was getting frustrated by all of the messages, saying he was very busy, and Babakanians was emailing and calling him multiple times a day.
Jeff, did Sheegl offer any insight into why the city chose the former Canada Post building for this?
Yes, he said there was a sense of urgency to the project as the police needed a new station because the old one was falling apart. He said a downtown location was something the police wanted, and the former Canada Post building could withstand natural disasters. Sheegl also said the city had looked into building something from scratch, which he says could have cost up to $600 million.
All right, thanks for this, Jeff. The search for a man wanted in connection to a fatal Canada Day crash that claimed the lives of two well-known local musicians is over tonight. 37-year-old Matthew Govero is now in police custody. According to RCMP, he was driving a vehicle that crossed the center line of Highway 10 north of Swan River, crashing head-on into a vehicle parked on the shoulder. Royal Canoe bassist Brendan Berg and his longtime girlfriend Olivia Michalchuk were in that parked car and died. A 29-year-old man in Govero's vehicle also died. Govero was arrested Saturday. He's facing 18 charges, including 3 counts of impaired driving causing death, 3 counts of dangerous operation of a vehicle causing death, and 3 counts of careless driving. The charges have not been tested in court. Beaten up and subject to racist insults. That is what one Indigenous mother says happened to her son at a Steinbach Middle School in what's being described as a disturbing bullying incident. Now, an organization devoted to reconciliation is calling on Hanover School Division to launch an investigation and send a strong message about racial attacks. Standing by live with those details is CTV's Joseph Bernacki. So, Joseph, what exactly happened at the school?
It was a crazy incident, Marilee. According to mom Melissa Johnson, her 11-year-old son Theo Osborne came home after school last week traumatized. She said 2 11-year-old boys attacked him, pulled out his hair, and injured his face and teeth during the lunch hour at Stony Brook Middle School. She said it was so severe he had a concussion.
Well, they called me at work around 3 and they said that Theo had been in an altercation with a couple boys and both were fists were flying and Theo had a fat lip. So I instantly started crying.
Johnson says this is just the latest incident and her son has been bullied for months. Kids at Stony Brook Middle School have mocked his Indigenous heritage, including his long hair, but also bullied him about his weight. She says Theo tries to stand up for himself, but says she's tired of the school not protecting him. RCMP confirmed they spoke with Theo's family, but said given that both of the boys were 11, no charges could be laid, as under the Youth Criminal Justice Act, that minimum is 12.
Well, bullying is bad enough by itself. This is an escalation of that. This was an attack. This was an assault. We need to know that Theo's going to be safe going to school.
Bambi Dawn works with Mino Odewin, an Indigenous-based advocacy group in Steinbach, and a friend of the family. She says they are calling for a formal investigation into how the Hanover School Division is handling the incident. A statement from the school division sent to CTV News said, in part, the incident was deeply upsetting for the student, family, and broader community. The division says every student deserves to feel safe, respected, and supported at school. They are currently investigating the incident. Now, the family met with school officials Tuesday after school.
Joseph, were the kids involved in this punished at all?
Yeah, Marilee, the school division wouldn't say, but Theo's mom says they told her both students were suspended. She found out later this afternoon in her meeting today that the boys were actually suspended for just 2 days, not 5, as she was previously told.
All right, thanks for this, Joseph. Colleen is going to be in momentarily with your first forecast. And as she mentioned yesterday, prepare yourself because some snow's on the way. In fact, the city says its crews are preparing for what is to come already. Road conditions are going to be monitored and sand and salt will be applied as needed to improve traction. Snow clearing will be decided based on just how much snow falls. The Winnipeg Regional Health Authority is also warning that community health, particularly home care services, may be affected by the snowfall. Clients should consider initiating their backup plans. All right, without further ado, let's get Colleen in here and get an update on the snow headed our way. What's the latest?
Well, it's not just snow, it's freezing rain that's made its way into parts of southwestern Manitoba. You can see in the corner here, we were expecting that. Also expecting the first snow starting to move through, the first band of it anyway, not too far away from Winnipeg. But once this goes through and you're wondering, is that it? Oh no, there's so much more on the way. So much, in fact, that Environment Canada has not 1, not 2, but 3 weather warnings in effect, all color-coded yellow, which says the weather agency feels the impacts will be moderate. All of southern Manitoba, for the most part, well, most of the south, I should say, under a snowfall warning, including the city of Winnipeg. Snowfall amounts still forecast to come in anywhere from 15 to 25 centimeters in a very generalized sense. Some areas will see more. And it's not just a snowfall warning. The southwest, some areas, including Brandon, under a blowing snow advisory right now, and the southwest corner under 3 weather alerts, including that freezing rain warning for the freezing rain you're seeing picking up there. I will have more details on what's ahead, the potential impacts, including how this could impact your traveling over the next couple of days coming up. But for now, let's take a look through the CTV Live Eye. CTV Live Eye is brought to you by Bath Fitter, exclusive home of the PermaFit solution in Winnipeg right now. Before things get going, well, the winds have picked up, as you can see. Winds out of the east-northeast at 34 kilometers an hour. -1 is the current temperature. It's cloudy. The pressure's dropping, and the humidity right now, Marilee, is 50%.
Thanks, Colleen. Well, it's a sure sign spring is just around the corner. Earlier today, the province started its ice cutting operations on the Red River. And as CTV's Danton Unger reports, for ice fishers on the river, this begins the countdown to the end of the ice fishing season.
Moose Sheegl got an unwelcome surprise when he drove to the end of Maine Tuesday afternoon, only to get turned around.
We wanted to come do some ice fishing, and suddenly it says, "Do not enter." We're like, what the hell is going on?
What's going on is the province's annual ice cutting operations that got underway Tuesday morning, with the bright green Amphibex machines beginning to claw their way down the Red River from the Netley Marsh to Selkirk, about 28 kilometers in total. This program started 20 years ago, with these mighty machines breaking up the ice to reduce the risk of flooding caused by ice jams on the lower Red River. Warning signs have been posted along the Red River, with the province asking those using the river to stay off the ice in these areas. Ice fishers are also reminded to remove huts or other materials in the areas where the ice jam mitigation program is taking place, the province said in a bulletin, adding notices to ice fishers will be posted at least 2 weeks before the shacks need to be removed. Meanwhile, further down the river near Lockport, Dirk Venderboss and his brothers are getting in as much ice fishing as they can.
We've still been popping up some pretty big fish.
But for Venderboss, the return of the Amphibex machines means spring is just around the corner, and another ice fishing season is coming to a close.
We still got another 6 weeks of fishing yet, so until then, just keep trying.
The province says it expects to have this ice cutting work here on the Red River complete by March 10th. Danton Unger, CTV News, Lockport.
A trial is now underway for a man accused of fatally shooting 5 people in a West Broadway rooming house. Opening arguments began today in the trial for Jamie Felix. He's pleaded not guilty to 5 counts of second-degree murder for the deadly shooting in November of 2023. Today, the prosecutor told the jury Felix fired 9 shots into a unit after days of using drugs and drinking alcohol. She went on to say Felix then turned the gun on himself but had run out of bullets. He was arrested 5 days later. 2 people died at the scene. 2 others died in hospital shortly after. The 5th person died last year. A delay in care contributed to the death of a woman who waited 11 hours in a Winnipeg emergency room. That's according to 55-year-old Stacey Ross's family, who spoke to media today alongside PC health critic Kathleen Cook. The PCs are calling for a public inquiry into 4 recent deaths at Winnipeg ERs. This, as Ross's daughter Morgan says she met with St. Boniface Hospital officials who said her mom's death was preventable.
I am 19 years old, and due to the Canada healthcare system, I have no mother to guide me. I have no mother to watch me grow. I have no mother to see my accomplishments. My mother was taken from me.
As CTV News first reported, Ross went to the ER at St. Boniface Hospital January 4th with severe chest pain. She waited more than 12 hours before being sent home, told she had a virus. But at home, she got sicker and ended up going back to that same ER on January 15th. There, she waited another 11 hours before getting a CT scan, which showed she had pneumonia. Ross died that night. Health Minister Yusoma Asagara told reporters answering the family's questions is a top priority.
I have given direction to St. Boniface to ensure that an external out-of-province expert is brought in to this CI to ensure that the family's concerns are addressed and they are provided the reassurance they need.
Ross's cause of death may not be known for months, according to her family. Well, more than 1,500 newborns have been screened for congenital cytomegalovirus since a provincial program was expanded in December.
We're going to identify these kids, we're going to be able to treat them, and kids are going to have a much better outcome.
CCMV affects around 1 in 200 births and is one of the leading non-genetic causes of permanent hearing loss in children. It can also result in developmental delays. Early screening helps identify infection sooner so doctors can monitor and treat the virus, reducing the risk of long-term complications.
We want to prove it's congenital, and to prove it's congenital, we need to catch it in the first 3 weeks of birth. And 2, the treatment needs to be early. The earlier the treatment, the better. The baby's still young. The antivirals are like so effective.
Manitoba joins Saskatchewan, Ontario, and some U.S. jurisdictions in providing universal CCMV screening. Manitoba's newborn screening program uses a small heel prick blood sample to screen for more than 40 rare diseases. A Manitoba delegation is joining Team Canada's trade mission to Mexico. Federal Internal Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc is leading the mission. He's joined by Manitoba Business, Mining, Trade and Job Creation Minister Jamie Moses, along with Manitoba Indigenous and business leaders. The delegation is focusing on agriculture and food, manufacturing, communication technology and creative industries. Manitoba's delegation is set to participate in more than 100 meetings with Mexican companies and investors.
Reverend Jackson had a saying that he used to tell me that became something I lived by. He said, turn your scars into stars.
The storied legacy of a civil rights leader coming up, remembering Reverend Jesse Jackson. Taking a look at the markets tonight, crude oil lost 49 cents. The Canadian dollar also slipped a bit lower. Gold futures plunged $140. The TSX dropped 177 points. The Dow Jones added 32 points, while the Nasdaq closed 31 points higher. Manitoba saw the largest inflation drop in the country last month, dipping from 3.7% to 2.6% nationally. Inflation is also slightly down overall from December to January. CTV's Adrian Gobriel takes a look at where you're saving money and places you're spending more.
Putting the brakes on inflation at the pumps. Canada's annual inflation rate landed at 2.3% in January, a slight dip from 2.4% in December, with the price of gasoline driving the decline, dipping by more than 16% year over year.
Pretty good print with prices heading in the right direction.
After years of driving inflation, the cost of shelter is now actually helping keep things grounded.
Whether that's ownership costs, or we're seeing that rents overall are decelerating. I would say that big contributing factor to CPI continues to move in the right direction.
The same can't be said at the grocery store, where a 4.8% overall increase is leaving Canadians with a bitter taste. While rice, fresh vegetables and eggs have decelerated, ground beef is up by more than 22% year over year. Nuts and seeds have spiked more than 13%, with roasted and ground coffee boiling over at more than 37%.
It's products that are affected by specific circumstances that are driving prices up.
Coffee yields, according to one economist, are being impacted by climate change. Droughts in recent years have in part led to Canadian farmers reducing their number of cattle to a near 40-year low.
Often we say when price goes up, demand goes down. We're not very quick to stop eating beef. I expect that we'll see higher beef prices sustained for a few years.
While food costs remain a concern, overall the current rate of inflation is being pitched as a positive, even as the outlook remains murky, with so much riding on the whims of a U.S. administration and vital free trade negotiations.
Some economists believe there's a good chance that interest rates will hold when the Bank of Canada announces its next decision on March 18th, though GDP and unemployment could factor in to future rate decisions in April and June. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Toronto.
Prime Minister Mark Carney unveiled his government's new defense industrial strategy today. The goal is to prioritize building military equipment here at home.
As a matter of policy, military procurement in areas where we have sovereign capabilities will be directed to Canadian firms first. Where we can't build alone, we will partner with like-minded allies, helping to attract investment, transfer intellectual property, and integrate supply chains so that public dollars flow back to Canada and Canadian jobs created right here.
The $6.6 billion strategy will prioritize military spending in Canada, moving away from a reliance on American firms. The government's goal is for Canadian companies to make up 70% of overall spending in the next decade. It also wants to see Canadian companies service and repair more of our Navy ships, Army vehicles, and Air Force planes. Carney says the new strategy will create 125,000 new jobs. Tributes are pouring in for Jesse Jackson, a champion of civil rights and social justice, who, along with Martin Luther King Jr., was a towering figure in the leadership of Black America. And as CTV's Heather Wright reports, the 84-year-old who died this morning leaves behind a complex legacy.
A skilled orator, a passionate advocate, Jesse Jackson spent 6 decades building bridges, helping the less fortunate, and fighting for racial equality.
Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive.
Born Born in the segregated South in 1941 to a teenage mother, Jackson was in seminary school when he traveled to Selma, Alabama to march for voting rights, meeting Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. for the first time. He soon began working with the civil rights leader and was at the motel in Memphis, Tennessee, the night King was assassinated.
We ain't the bottom, we the foundation.
Jackson soon emerged as the most high-profile successor to Dr. King, though some accused the Baptist minister of capitalizing on King's death.
Our flag is red, white, and blue, but our nation is rainbow. Red, yellow, brown, black, and white.
One of the most prominent American politicians of the 1980s and 90s, Jackson started the Rainbow Coalition, focusing on social justice and economic empowerment. Jackson ran for president twice in 1984 and 1988, considered the first black candidate to be a serious contender. And though he was never the Democratic nominee, his work helped pave the path for the election of President Barack Obama in 2008. Jackson watched with tears in his eyes as Obama was declared the winner. A mediator and negotiator, Jackson helped secure the release of international prisoners and hostages.
Well, we've been invited to by the Mohawks.
And in 1990, he flew to Quebec to try and break a deadlock during the Oka crisis, one of the many times he crossed international borders to help marginalized communities.
To address issues from the ground up, issues that affect racialized people, youth, justice issues, faith-based issues.
Jackson was not without fault. During his first presidential campaign, he used an anti-Semitic slur to describe New York City, later apologizing. And in 2001, he admitted to fathering a child out of wedlock.
This campaign has taught me much.
In announcing his death today, his family called him a real servant leader who elevated the voice of the voiceless. Jesse Jackson was 84. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
I think it just sends a message like, hey, we're trying to win now. Like, we want to continue competing for Western Championships and competing for Grey Cups.
Coming up, Bombers QB Zach Calero speaks ahead of his 7th season in blue and gold.
Now, by the time we get to Thursday, the bulk of this system will have gone through, likely tapering off to flurries. A high of -6 degrees. Now, in behind this low pressure system that's on our doorstep, colder temperatures return behind it. Friday, -11, cloudy by the weekend, brighter but colder, -13 on Saturday. We might catch some sun, but cloud as well. Sunnier Sunday, colder too, -15 degrees, -14 Monday, under a mix of sun and cloud.
Have a news tip? When you see news happening, let CTV News Winnipeg know. Text your tips, pictures, and videos to 10400. That's 10400. Message and data rates may apply.
Heavy rains left streets of a French town submerged, forcing residents to move around in boats. And check this out. This is the town of Denay in the western part of the country. The community is under the country's highest flood warning and will remain so through tomorrow, with more heavy rains expected.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
All right, before we get the latest on this storm that is going to cause all kinds of traffic trouble, I need to say hello to all of my friends at Phoenix School. I was there today reading to the grades 1 and 2 class. I think we have some photos of them we can show. There they are.
Very good.
There's all the kids. We had a fun time reading, and I got to tell you, Colleen, they were talking about the weather. They heard all this snow was coming in. They were actually pretty excited about getting out and playing in it.
Yeah, well, there's going to be a lot to play in if this forecast holds. So kids, it's on the way. It is actually on our doorstep. And I want to show you, too, it's not just southern Manitoba, of course. This all originated with a low that formed over Montana. And that's where the center of the low pretty much is still located, but it's lobbing all kinds of snow north across the prairies. But it's not just snow, as you can see. By the time that rain south of the border hits the international border, where the air is a little cooler, we see that flip over to freezing rain, nipping the southwest corner of Manitoba. But we may see that freezing rain stretch throughout the night along the international border further east, and maybe even as far north as Winnipeg. You can see there's a band of snow that's not too far from the city. It's to the southwest right now. This is just the first of many bands of snow that will be coming through. So once again, 3 different weather warnings are in effect tonight, or weather alerts, all issued by Environment Canada. The bulk of southern Manitoba, including Winnipeg, Portage, Brandon, Dauphin, all those areas under that snowfall warning. Now, widespread general snowfall totals from really now through until Thursday morning expected to come in anywhere between 15 to 25 centimeters. The heaviest track is going to go through areas like the Parkland region and the Manitoba Escarpment. So we may even see higher snowfall amounts there where terrain is a little bit higher. We could see upwards of 30 centimeters or more. Now, in addition to the snowfall warning, Brandon and surrounding communities still under a blowing snow advisory for now, and the southwest corner where that freezing rain is currently falling, still a freezing rain warning, in addition to the blowing snow advisory, in addition to the snowfall warning. So there's a lot with this system. So here's how the Futurecast has this system coming into other parts of southern Manitoba tonight. This is what I'm talking about. We might see this freezing rain spread along the international border. That snow starts to come in throughout the latter part of the night into the southwest, and it's expected to make its way into the Red River Valley in Winnipeg by quite late tonight. But once it does start to fall, we'll be also dealing with some very strong winds. We have a ridge of high pressure meeting that low and basically squeezing out some very strong winds that will be blowing around this snow. Yes, the winds will be very strong. They won't cause outright blizzard conditions, but still, blowing snow is anticipated. Will highways close? It's tough to say. Just be prepared for the possibility over the overnight hours throughout the day tomorrow and into tomorrow night, potentially even into Thursday morning. As we get into the afternoon tomorrow, that snow widespread falling across most of the south, up into parts of the northwest as well. But really, the heavier snow will be falling throughout southern Manitoba all throughout the day Wednesday into Wednesday night. Once we get overnight, you'll see that really starts to break down substantially by Thursday morning, tapering off to flurries. And northwestern Ontario will also be impacted. At this point, a special weather statement is still in effect for northwestern Ontario. Environment Canada says it's a little tough to track exactly this storm once it gets as far as Ontario. So at this point, still generally 5 to 10 centimeters is forecast with this system. For here, for Winnipeg, 5 to 10 centimeters is forecast just tonight, down to -5. Strong winds, 40 gusting to 60 from the east overnight. So that will cause blowing snow overnight and into the commute tomorrow. So again, tough to say if any highways will close, but anticipate a tougher commute, including inside the city as well, where blowing snow is also anticipated in those open areas as the snow continues to fall. Temperature holding steady around -5 in the morning, only moving up to -4 in the afternoon, or throughout the day. Another 5 to 10 centimeters is forecast. And guess what? Another 5 to 10 centimeters is forecast for Winnipeg tomorrow night. So low end, 15 centimeters is possible. High end as much as 30 over the next day and a half. A few clouds tonight at most over Churchill, down to -29 there. Partly cloudy through Gillam, Island Lake, and Thompson. Thompson down to -21. Cloudy there tomorrow, -17. Island Lake, -9 tomorrow. Cloudy. Speaking of which, cloudy tonight across the northwest. Overnight lows as cold as -25 for Lynn Lake. And around the region tomorrow, Flin Flon and the Possum. Light snow moving into your communities, up to -13 for your Wednesday afternoon. Snow falling heavily tonight across the southwest. Not so much tonight for Swan River. More comes through tomorrow. -9 overnight for Brandon. Dauphin, you're going to see your temperature bounce around a bit throughout the night. Snow falling heavily tomorrow. -6 for Brandon and the surrounding areas. Winnipeg and the southeast tonight. Expect that snow to arrive later tonight. Overnight lows -4, -5 for most of us. Snow falling heavily at times tomorrow with temperatures holding steady. And in northwestern Ontario, that snow arriving on your doorstep tonight as well, and it will continue into Wednesday for you. Also, our first weather photo takes us up along the east shore of the North Basin of Lake Winnipeg. That gorgeous shot there is from Glenn. And this nice one was taken near Lorette. Carolyn said it was so nice yesterday, she just had to get out there and enjoy it. Send us your weather photos to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
Thanks, Colleen. Blue Bombers quarterback Zach Collaros is excited for the 2026 season, but admits it could be his CFL swan song.
There's a chance, yeah.
You thought of it?
Yeah, but not in like a negative way. Like I still feel really good. I still really enjoy like the entire process. I enjoy working out, like getting up early and doing it. And then, this off season's been great. Working with Tommy and putting stuff together. For the training camp and for the season. So I've kind of been reinvigorated in that way.
Collaros is entering his 7th season in blue and gold and 14th in the league. The two-time CFL most outstanding player talked about his up and down 2025 campaign marred by injuries and turnovers, but says 2026 is a chance to erase all of that and credits management for beefing up the offensive line and reloading the receiver core during free agency.
For myself, being a little longer in the tooth, in this game and some of the other guys who've been here for a long period of time, I think it just sends a message like, hey, we're trying to win now. Like we want to continue competing for Western championships and competing for Grey Cups.
Collaros says he's also looking forward to working alongside new offensive coordinator Tommy Condell. The 2026 CFL season kicks off in June. A group of families in PEI are taking the concept of a backyard rink to new levels. They've teamed up to create an above-average ice surface that's really become the focal point for skaters young and old. CTV's Maria Serro explains.
A skate goes on, the buckle clicks shut, and a smile spreads. Kids in this PEI community are getting ready to take their first glide of the day. Good job, girl. And they're doing it on a rink built by parents in the neighborhood.
It's pretty large for a backyard rink. It's huge.
Around 7 families teamed up on the project, splitting the cost and the labor. They say it took about $10,000 in total and 60 hours each to set up. This is the rink's 2nd season, and it doubled in size.
They jokingly say that I'm the foreman, but we've got a great group of dads, and we all work together to get it built.
For about 100 kids who live here, it's a place to play.
You just get to skate around with your friends. It's a fun way to hang out. You could spend time with your friends and family. After school, it's a lot of fun, too, when it gets dark.
The ice stays busy even after the sun sets, thanks to LED lights, which are a newer addition. So is this second-hand Zamboni from northern New Brunswick. The dads gave it a little work and a new coat of paint and now take turns running it.
One of us will house the Zamboni in our garage for the week, and pretty much every evening we just go out and do a quick flood.
Parents add it's another way to get their children outside.
And especially this time of year where it's cold and not a lot of people want to be outside. It gives the kids something to do and gets them away from the screens.
And it helps that it's just down the street for some.
My house is over down there, a couple houses down.
Maria Through, CTV News.
The horse really brings kind of movement, motivation, all of this kind of moving forward.
Celebrating the Year of the Horse. Coming up, how Winnipeg's Asian communities are marking Lunar New Year. Millions of people around the world are celebrating Lunar New Year today. It's one of the most important holidays on the Chinese calendar. So to help us better understand it and learn more about how it's being celebrated here in Winnipeg, Tina Chen with the Winnipeg Chinese Cultural and Community Center joins me now. Tina, great to speak with you.
Thanks for having me today.
Celebrations started last night, and they actually go on for several days, I understand. So tell us a bit about how Chinese New Year is typically celebrated.
Well, certainly it is one of the biggest holidays of the year for those who celebrate Lunar New Year. And for many families, this would have started last night with making dumplings, really a way to come together with a feast. We make dumplings because by folding, you bring people together, so often with family and friends. But we've also already celebrated in the Chinese community here in Winnipeg with a Lunar New Year banquet last week, not last year. And there are many more still to come. So many groups across the city are banqueting, eating together. All the foods have symbolism, and the food is what brings us together.
I understand this is the Year of the Horse or the Year of the Fire Horse. I've actually heard both terms. Which one is correct?
They are both correct. So the Chinese zodiac has 12 animals, and so each of the animals takes its turn through the zodiac. And then there's also the 5 elements. And so each year there's both an element and the animal. And so, you know, the particular combination of the fire horse comes around once every 60 years. It's said to be one of incredible energy. So the horse really brings kind of movement, motivation, all of this kind of moving forward. And the fire element brings an added intensity and passion to that. So there is going to be a lot going on in this year.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question, what we can expect from the year of the horse.
Well, you know, most people say last year with the snake, we were all supposed to shed our old habits. We were to get ready and prepare for this because unbridled energy, moving forward, constant kind of action. We're being advised not to take too long to plan. Don't sit around and think about doing things, but actually just start doing them and adjust while you're on the go. This comes with all these warnings, though. Be careful about burnout and make sure you're taking care of yourself in a year that's really about forward momentum and not necessarily knowing where it's going to take you.
All right. I understand there are also some do's and don'ts you practice during the Spring Festival. What should and shouldn't we do to boost our luck or, you know, set us up on the right foot for the coming year?
Well, you know, I always say to everyone, my favorite don't is that on Lunar New Year Day, do not clean your house. Now, of course, this comes with the caveat that we are all supposed to prepare for the Lunar New Year by already cleaning our house. So depending on where you are in that cycle, but this is really about doing all the things in preparation for the Lunar New Year so that we get rid of any kind of negative energy, and that what we want to do on the actual day then is to keep that keep all of that good energy, prosperity, all of those good wishes with us. And so, you know, do not clean your house, do not wash your hair, all of these ways. There's a certain, you know, people who believe that you roll an orange across the threshold of your home so that it's bringing in the sort of good fortune. There's many different customs that come into being. And so, yeah, I'm one who picks and chooses based on how I feel.
Well, I got to tell you, I like the no cleaning the house rule. How can Winnipeggers watching right now get in on the celebrations? What's planned over the Spring Festival?
Well, you know, I would encourage everyone to come and attend the Lunar New Year show, which is a big celebration. It's both Saturday and Sunday. It takes place at the Nisitoa Concert Hall, and this is put on by Manitoba Great Wall Performing Arts and the Winnipeg Chinese Cultural and Community Center, having a kind of big show that showcases different acts, performances. This one, we have guest performers from China, so it will be fantastic. And that kind of Lunar New Year show is also very much part of the tradition, whether one's watching a live show or on TV. So it's a way of kind of celebration and community. So I hope that people will join us there.
Well, Tina, I want to thank you so much for your time tonight. Happy Chinese New Year.
Thank you very much for having me, and Happy New Year.
A new study out of McMaster University identifies several key factors in children developing food allergies. And as CTV's Pauline Chan tells us, introducing certain foods early can help prevent them.
Eggs and milk are known to be common allergies early in a child's life.
Those tend to resolve by about age 6 to 8. In most individuals, about 80%.
But for the other 20%, food allergies can continue to pose a lifelong threat. McMaster researchers have been looking at 342 risk factors for babies developing food allergies.
International data, over 40 countries, and 2.8 million participants in 190 different studies.
They identified 4 factors as the most important: a family history of allergies, eczema as a baby, delayed introduction of common allergens such as eggs, peanut, or fish, and early use of antibiotics. Dr. Derek Chu says in some cases, antibiotic use in babies is essential, but in borderline cases, families and physicians should be aware it could be a factor in developing food allergies. Chu also says eczema is like a window to the immune system and an early indicator of a sensitive immune system.
What's showing in our studies that if you delay food allergen introduction, it actually increases the risk quite a bit, and consequently, if you introduce early, might protect.
Food Allergy Canada says this publication confirms that food allergy development in children is influenced by multiple factors. Early introduction and continued inclusion of allergenic foods, central to our Eat Early, Eat Often guidance, has shown promising results in reducing food allergy risk. Their website offers guidelines to introduce common allergens, like milk and eggs, to babies between 4 and 6 months of age, in the form of yogurt or mashed boiled eggs, for example, and make sure you keep them in your child's regular diet.
Risk factors are just risk factors. That means it's not a guarantee.
But he says being aware of them can allow us to monitor and tailor allergy prevention efforts for each child. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
2 brands of birth control pills prescribed in Canada have been recalled due to a packaging error. The recall by Teva Canada followed a complaint from a user who noted a package of the pills was missing an entire blister card. Upon investigation, the company issued a recall of 2 lots of Seasonique and 1 lot of Seasonal. The public advisory warns users not to skip any doses and to get to a pharmacy for replacement or alternative if possible. Any addition to possible pregnancy, the recall notes missing a pill may lead to other side effects like spotting or irregular bleeding.
Medical Watch is brought to you by Manukin Koster Denture Clinic.
For my time, but I've been told never come back from Copperhead Road.
A slice of Americana is coming to Winnipeg. We'll tell you when and where next in Spotlight.
Spotlight sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting Straight From Me to You, the tribute to George Strait.
A new one-man show focused on a Canadian telecom giant is hitting the stage.
It covers conversations and topics that we are all concerned with these days, which is our cell phone bills rising and rising, and prices, on all products rising, and the lack of competition in this country.
It's called Rogers v. Rogers. It tells the story of Edward Rogers, the CEO of Rogers Communications, as he tries to acquire Shaw Communications. The show follows his legal battle with Canada's Commissioner of Communication, who tries to stop the acquisition. And it stars Tom Rooney, who won't be phoning in his performance since he'll be playing all 16 characters.
It's a bit of a marathon, I have to say. When I have to do 2 shows in a day, it's pretty exhausting. But it's also very fun. And I just say the writing. Michael Healy is the playwright. His writing is so fun and very entertaining. So it's a great. I love having the relationship between just me and the audience, and I think we all have a pretty good time.
The show kicks off tomorrow at the John Hirsch main stage and runs through March 14th. An American country rock singer-songwriter is returning to Winnipeg.
For my time, but I've been told you never come back from Copperhead Road.
Steve Earle is set to play the Burton Cummings Theatre on July 15th. Earle is best known for his song Copperhead Road and is a Nashville Songwriters Hall of Famer. He's also written for the likes of Johnny Cash, The Pretenders, Emmylou Harris, and more. Tickets go on sale February 20th at 10 a.m. A Punjabi Canadian music star is heading out across the country this spring. Karan Aujla will bring his P-pop culture tour to Canada Life Centre on May 13th. It's his first Canadian tour and is in support of his newest album of the same name, which is the highest charting debut for a Punjabi language album. Tickets go on sale Friday at 10 a.m. through Ticketmaster. Mandy Moore is taking us on a tour of her home.
I like that it's very intentionally softer and warmer and richer and more colorful and more playful. Overwhelmingly, you just feel like...
Moore and her husband Taylor Goldsmith gave Architectural Digest a tour of their Spanish colonial house. It was rebuilt after the LA wildfires and reimagined for life with their 3 children. Well, there is a new series starring a nearly perfect cast.
I'd like to make a toast
I'm so happy to be here with the two people I love most in the world.
Imperfect Women stars Elizabeth Moss, Kerry Washington, and Kate Mara. It's based on a novel of the same name. The series examines a crime that ends up derailing the lives and friendship of the three women. It begins streaming on March 18th. Will Trent kicks off your primetime lineup at 7. High Potential follows at 8. Catch W5 Avery Haynes Investigates at 9. And Best Medicine wraps up the night at 10. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
Putting the camera in the hands of a dancer or in the hands of a skater, you can now tell the story of what you're supposed to be feeling.
Up close and personal, still to come, meet the unsung hero of Olympic figure skating.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&T Spa Salon.
No action yet, but Winnipeg and most of southern Manitoba under that snowfall warning, so watch out for that snow arriving late tonight. Now today we got up to -1, a good 22 degrees warmer than we were last year on this day. Anticipate the snow to move into Winnipeg late tonight. Also very strong winds creating blowing snow. Anticipate a tough commute tomorrow morning. Tough to say if any highways will be closed, but this snow will continue into Wednesday night, tapering to flurries by Thursday.
Thanks, Colleen. Some of the most dramatic shots captured in figure skating are coming from a new vantage point.
Putting the camera in the hands of a dancer or in the hands of a skater, you can now tell the story of what you're supposed to be feeling.
For the first time, there is a camera operator working on the ice for figure skating. Jordan Cowan is a former ice dancer, and he can be seen on the ice wearing that white tuxedo, trying to capture the moment after each performance. And make sure you keep an eye out for him during the closing gala, because Jordan is going to be on the ice as medal winners perform some of their routines.
Yeah, this is very cool. I've been watching him do this.
Yeah, it definitely gives you a different vantage point.
Sure
for sure.
does. It's great.
All right, something to look forward to. That does it for us tonight. Keep an eye on that snow. Stay safe out there.
Yeah.
We'll see you back here tomorrow.